It's a futuristic show today. It's me. It's Anita Marks. Welcome inside Studio West. This is Market Movers here, presented by Sport Trade. Anita, how are you? We have a great show today. A lot of opportunity to make some people some money in the short term.
We're doing a lot. Like I'm sitting here in front of I've got like all kinds of paperwork in front of me. So like we're hitting on a number of topics, a number, as you said, futuristic show, a lot of futures bets out there. As we know, NBA postseason will be here before we know it. We're right around the corner from March Madness. We've got some golf happening right now. So yes, a lot to discuss, Dan.
A lot to discuss, and we don't want to waste anyone's time because there is so much to get to. So we'll talk about what's going on literally right now, which is the second round of the Honda Classic. The first round suspended with about 6 guys still to play. They finished it up early this morning at like 8:20, and now we are ensconced in the second round. If you look at the markets on Sport Trade right now, Chris Kirk leading the way at $19.50 per share. Justin Suh at $19. He finished up his first round earlier today. He's going to get started here, I believe, pretty soon. Anita, I was all about Sungjae Im. He was the leader coming in at one point yesterday, 4 under in the front 9. He got up to $18 per share. And I stupidly was like, well, he's only at 18 and he's going to win. So that means there's $82 more to be made here. Therefore, I went ahead and bought him. And now he's all the way down at, I think, goodness gracious, I think he was at 4 at last check. Let me scroll all the way down here. In the meantime, I'm still going. Why don't you fill me in on what you thought was going to happen going in?
Yeah, I'm with you. One of the caveats in regard to the Live Tour happening, and that is you don't get a lot of really great players playing on the PGA Tour anymore unless they're offering them a gazillion bucks. So heading into this bad boy, only 3 top 25 players were teeing off. Sungjae Im, as we like to call him, the course horse. But obviously, we're looking right now at the top of the leaderboard. He's nowhere to be found. So very surprising, because I'm with you. The one metric that I paid a lot of attention to coming in was strokes gained, tee to green. And he was number 1 in that category of this field and 9th this season on tour. So and this is a course that he plays well. There's a lot of wind here. This is a course where ball strikers typically do well. So I'm with you. I did have Sungjae Im, but where it stands right now, Kirk being up there, you're saying that Kirk is favored now on Sport Trade.
Yeah.
I think that's what you got to look at. I know he's 1 stroke back. He shot 8 under today. Data Golf has him as a 22% chance of winning.
Okay.
Listen, he finished in the top 3 at Sony and the American Express. Those are his 2 top 15 finishes in his past 14 rounds. He is a great ball striker. If his flat stick can stay hot, this dude will be able to compete and contend and be able to be in the final mix on Sunday. So I do like Kirk. Some other guys that I would pay attention to right now, and that's Joseph Bramlett. Right now, he's tied for 7th. He's 5 under. He's even through 6 today. Back-to-back top 15s. He put up plus 10 strokes in ball striking his last tournament. He has increased his club head speed this season, and he's made this will be his 8th straight cut that he has made.
Oh, I love that.
So I think Bramlett could be a really sneaky good play for you. And one more guy that I'm looking at, and that's Svensson. He's tied for 15th right now. He's 4 under. He's shot 4 under today. He's a guy that I liked coming in. I put money down that he would finish in the top 5, top 10, and top 20. He tied 9th at Riviera. He won already on tour this season, the RSM Classic. He plays really good on Bermuda grass. That's what they play on in Florida. And he has a top 10 here last year. So those are the 3 guys that I would put some coin on right now, Dan.
So Im was, I believe, 1 over today. I just had it up, and now I'm searching. He's 2 under for the entire tournament. Yeah, he was 1 over. Now 8 shots back of the lead. I think I just showed it earlier. But right now, yesterday I bought it at half a share, so $9 total on $18 share. And right now, I could sell it back for $1.02 and 8 shots off heading into moving day. At this point, I might as well just let it ride, right? Like, what's the difference between $1?
I think you should let it ride.
Let's just see what happens.
I'm looking at his round today. He really screwed up on hole 3. Got a triple bogey on hole 3. I would imagine that he probably went in the water. And listen, it's not a bad round. 2 birdies, 1 bogey, and 1 triple bogey. And the triple bogey is what killed him. Yeah. If he wouldn't have triple bogeyed a hole 3, he could have been somewhere in contention. Whereas you said tomorrow, Saturday is moving day. I wouldn't sell it for that amount of money. Hold on to it. Like I said, he's the course horse. He's the best player who's teeing it up. So who knows? Maybe he finds lightning in a bottle on Saturday and Sunday, Dan.
No, I love that. And like I said, he was 4 under through 9 yesterday. So presumably he could go on a heater again. So we're going to hold on here, but I do like some of those plays. So thank you for those, Anita. Moving on. And I'm really excited for this discussion here. NBA futures. Obviously, we're now out of the All-Star break. We are firmly in the push for the postseason right now in the National Basketball Association. I think if you look at the Eastern Conference, Anita, you could easily say it's kind of a 3-team race at this point for Eastern Conference supremacy between Milwaukee, Boston, and Philly. But the Western Conference, I mean, I look at this conference, I have no idea how any of this is going to shake out. You got injuries all over the place. Kevin Durant has yet to make his appearance, his debut for the Phoenix Suns. The Warriors are always injured, but if they can round back into shape come April, they're obviously a threat. You've got Memphis, who has been terrible since Steven Adams went out with an injury, which doesn't excuse the fact that they've been that terrible. Steven Adams should not be deciding your entire season, but still a very good basketball team. I just looked down this list. You have in the Western Conference, the Suns at 16-5, the Nuggets at 12, the Clippers at 7-5. The Clippers being the 3rd highest Western Conference team to me just speaks to the volatility in this conference because the Clippers haven't been able to play for a month straight in 5 years with their guys. So when you size up the Western Conference specifically, or even the Eastern Conference, when you size up the pricing metrics here on Sport Trade, what does it say to you?
Yeah, so let's start with the West because it's the team that I think is going to win the championship, and that's the Denver Nuggets. You know,
come on.
I mean, Dan, at the end of the day, you don't think so?
No,
you're saying no.
We've seen this year in and year out. First of all, there's a big media bias. I'm not just saying this because I'm a Joel Embiid guy, but huge media bias against Embiid for MVP. I recognize that Jokic is a certifiable Hall of Famer. He's an unbelievable player, but we see it the Sixers every year. You're not winning a championship with your center as your centerpiece. Just my opinion.
But he averages a triple-double a night.
I know. So did Russell Westbrook.
It's insane. It really is. I mean, he is hands down the best player in the NBA. You know, and listen, nothing against Embiid. Embiid's averaging 5 assists a game. The Joker's averaging 10. 24, 11, and 10. That's what he averages any given night. It's just it's ridiculous.
I mean, he doesn't have a ball handler like Harden who takes multiple possessions away from him. I don't want to get into I don't want to get into like this old tire debate. Embiid, Jokic. Obviously, I'm a Philadelphia homer. People who watch this are going to say, roll their eyes and say, "Okay, Dan, we get it. You love Embiid." I just think we see this every year with the Nuggets in the playoffs, and every year it's just like he's great, but over the course of 7 games, can you neutralize everyone else enough around him to get by them? And I think that is what has bore out.
Well, a few things. Number one, as much as I like Embiid as well, you've got the future. What are you buying right now for him to win, for Jokic to win MVP?
So right now he's at $68 per share, I believe. Let me just pull it up real quick.
That ship has sailed.
69.
I believe it's in the bag. I really do. Right. Wow. Again, he averages a triple-double every night. Denver has the number 1 seed in the West. I think they'll remain there. 5-game lead over everyone else. Obviously, it's going to come down to health. Can he stay healthy? In years past, he has. It's not like he's an injury-prone athlete. I think the only way that he doesn't win it, Dan, is for the voters out there to go, well, is he really as good as Bill? Is he really as good as Walt? Is he really as good as Bird? Right. Does he deserve to now be in the group of 4 as opposed to 3? And I think that would be pretty horrific if that's the reason why he doesn't win. So that's first.
But that's real, right? That's real.
And then I'll go one step further. Like I love the way that Murray has been playing. I feel like this season he's arrived. He's averaging 25 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists a game. Porter Jr. is there. And I know, there's a lot of other teams out there getting all the Lakers, the Suns, getting all the talk about what they did at the trade deadline. I like the addition of Thomas Bryant. I love the addition of Reggie Jackson. I think Reggie Jackson brings this, bad boy, toughness, this identity, this swagger to a Denver team that, do they really have swagger? I don't think they do. 13-2 their last 15 games heading into the All-Star break. Again, I think they get the number 1 seed, home court advantage throughout, and they more than likely won't face the Suns until the Western Conference Championship. So for me, it's the Denver Nuggets.
Very quickly, I think the 3-time MVP thing narrative is real. I think people won't vote for him strictly because of that. Now, that's not to say he won't win, but I think that's real. Yeah, I mean, and we see it in every sport too. Which, you know, it is what it is. A lot of old crotchety sports writers out there don't want to see guys make history that they don't deem appropriate enough. Regardless of how you feel, I think that's an actual real thing. The Clippers, you just got to see them play together, right? Like Kawhi's been amazing the last month, 6 weeks, but you know, is he going to play in April? I don't know.
That's the big question.
Right.
Here, let me ask you. Like, I like the addition of Russell Westbrook. By the way, I mean,
wow, you're the one.
I'm probably the only one for a few reasons. Number one, you can't deny his stats. The numbers that he was putting up coming off the bench for the Lakers as the 6th man. Can't deny that. And on top of that, he's finally in a place where where he's wanted, right? Don't forget, like heading into this season, you know, LeBron wanted him there, but then very quickly wanted him out. And there's just like, there was bad energy there. There was bad energy on the team. There was bad energy in the locker room. Now he's back with his boy, Paul George, who, don't forget, they played with each other in OKC. Paul George was lobbying for him to be there. I think he's in a really, really good situation. He's comfortable there. Obviously, they share the same arena. I like the Clippers, and I'm probably the only one who does like the addition of Russell Westbrook.
Losing player. That's how I feel about Russell Westbrook. Hall of Famer, no doubt. But a guy who's disinterested, and that's being kind, in playing defense, unless it comes attached to a steal or something like that. Losing player. I'm off the Clippers. There is a team we agree on, though, Anita, and that is the Milwaukee Bucks. Right now at $15.15, they're the 3rd highest trading team in the association. Frankly, I think they're the best team. If Chris Middleton can round himself into some sort of form, I mean, Drew Holiday has been fantastic for them. He's their 2nd best player now, and not so much Middleton. But if they can get him right, I think everybody's got to go through Milwaukee, and that includes the Celtics. That definitely includes the Philadelphia 76ers, and that includes whoever is going to be awaiting for them in the Western Conference. I just, similar to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, I find it so difficult, I know I didn't do this, but to go against Giannis. I just think he is an inevitable force that when the Bucks are full strength, they're the best team in the National Basketball League Association. That's just how I feel. So I think Bucks at 15.5 is a great deal.
So lockstep with you as well. Love the Bucks. Giannis, by the way, not playing against the Heat tonight, so I do like the Heat. I know we're going to end the show with a few of my NBA and college basketball plays, but I'm with you, and I think the big key here is Middleton, right, Dan? Like this Bucks team is a much different offense now that Middleton's been back. I know it's a small sample size. He just came back a few games prior to the All-Star break, but still, you see them. They're just a much different offense, which, by the way, he's going to be a free agent next year. Watch out. The Knicks might go after him.
Why not go after Chris Middleton when you could have just had Donovan Mitchell, right? Why not?
Lost out on that. But and here's another thing. The path in the East, whoever gets the number 1 seed, Dan, so easy. So easy.
Yeah.
And I know Boston has it right now. But the Bucks are coming after them. I'm telling you, I do believe that the Bucks are going to surpass the Boston Celtics. I think the Bucks are going to get the number 1 seed in the East, and whoever gets that number 1 seed, it's going to be a much easier, because I'm just, the competition in the East, it just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't scare me. There's no team. There's not a lot. There's outside of, obviously, the Bucks, the 76ers. Watch out for the Cavs. I do like the Cavs. There's just not another team that is just like, I feel I have true conviction that can legit upset the Bucks or even the Boston Celtics. in a series. So, again, I think the Bucks get the #1 seed, and I think they represent the East.
Yeah, frankly, the Sixers haven't beaten the Celtics since it feels like the 1980s. That's the last time they beat them in any basketball game. So even if I'm the Celtics, I'm thinking, who cares about the 1 or 2 seed? I mean, the Sixers are not going to challenge them in the second round. 2 more buy low candidates for you, Anita. The Grizzlies are just $5.50. I think assuredly they're getting out of the first round. They've got a real chance to get to the Western Conference Finals if they can right the ship here in the last month and a half. That would at least take them to $20 per share. So that's almost a 300% growth on a $5.50 trade. I like that one. The Pelicans, like, is Zion ever going to play again? They're $1.30. Brandon Ingram was out with a foot injury for a long time. He's now back. Zion has this hamstring injury that he actually, ironically hurt against the 76ers like 2 months ago. Is he ever going to play? Because if he plays, they're really good.
And it's interesting you say that, Dan. Like, do we even remember? It was so long ago, right? Like,
yeah.
Like the Pelicans came out and they were on a freaking tear, Dan.
They were on a heater.
They were like, would they win like 9, 10 in a row? I mean, like, they were just like, they were unstoppable. So, I'm with you. Is it worth a flyer on the Pelicans? How quickly will Zion be back? And will it be in enough time to gel again and to kind of get into that ebb and flow that you need to have in order to win a championship in the NBA? And I'll pose the same question in regard to the Suns. I know everybody's looking at the Suns and KD going to the Suns. He's not playing tonight either. He's not playing until March 1st. So I guess I'm gonna circle this back to you, Dan. I'm curious. Do you feel that this is enough time for the Suns to gel, to bring it together? And of course, you've got to assume that KD's not going to re-injure himself. There's always that concern. So, like, do you feel that this is enough time for the Suns team to gel and kind of find their way and get into where they need to be playing? I think, because of how competitive the West is. I know we haven't talked about the Lakers yet either. Watch out for this Lakers team.
Oh, there's no reason to.
They won last night. I love them to finish in the top 6. I know we don't have a futures bet there, but this is a really competitive Western conference now. Are they going to be where they need to be? Is it a sufficient amount of time? That I don't know. I thought KD would play tonight. He's not.
Yeah, well, to put a bow on the Pelicans, $1.30. We have 58 shares available at that price, which means you can have all 58 for $75. It's a trade that would return $5,600 if they were to run the table. To answer your question about the Suns, though, I think given the fact they have Chris Paul, given the fact that Kevin Durant is who he is, I think he fits in most situations easier than other players potentially could. It's not a lot of time. I think if there is a player who could do it, it probably is Kevin Durant. But to your point, really not a ton of time. We're going to pick up our pace here because I know we've got 2:30 is kind of like our out here. We'll just mention this quickly. So the NCAA, obviously, conference tournaments start early next week with some of the smaller tournaments. The week after that, we start to get into some of the big boys. On Sport Trade, you will be able to trade and bet on conference tournaments as tournaments, meaning you could bet on the ASUN champion, the WCC champion, the MVC champion, the ACC, the A10, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You'll be able to treat that as if it's a season-long future, right? So amazing opportunity here, especially in a tournament like the ACC, which has just been all over the place this year, to maybe grab some value. Anita, I know you like Miami in that particular tournament. You like UConn in the Big East, Purdue in the Big 10, UCLA in the Pac-12, Kansas in the Big 12, and Houston in the American. Now, as somebody who watches the rough and tumble American, Temple grad, I can tell you, Houston's probably going to be priced at $99 per share to win the American.
So a little quick note. I could go a little bit further than 230, maybe 235, 237.
Okay.
So I don't want to rush through this.
Let's dive in.
Yes, I mean, I've got Houston. I think they're the best team, top 3 offense, top 3 defense, right? Let's talk about some conferences where people can make some money. I love Miami coming out of the ACC, right? I think they're peaking at the right time. They've got a lot of depth. They have 7 quad 1 wins, great offense, great in transition. I think some people are looking at Duke, of course, because of the history there. But I love this Canes team, and I'm not just saying that because I'm from the 305.
Shout out.
What are you buying that for?
Well, we don't have it up quite yet. I can tell you
we
next
don't
week.
have it up yet. Okay.
Yeah, not yet. I can tell you next week. Once seating, I imagine once seating is secured, we'll have it up.
Kansas, I love Kansas coming out of the Big 12. And in fact, I like this repeating. I know we haven't seen it since 2006, 2007 when Florida was able to do it. But another team, Jalen Wilson, he's really turned it around as of late. I think they're peaking. Was really impressed with their win against TCU on Monday. So I do like Kansas coming out of the Big 12. The Big East, man, there's a lot of fun teams in the Big East, right? But I'm looking at UConn. Do you have any plays out of the big?
The Big East to me is an interesting one, right? Because there's so many teams that are sort of sitting right there, but will probably need to win it to win the conference tournament and able to get in. Yeah, Creighton. Villanova, right? Like a lot of these teams are going to have to go on a little bit of a run here. I mean, Marquette 22-6, like they're probably in. But you look at Xavier, Providence, Creighton, UConn, to your point, 21-7. I mean, St. John's is 17-12. If they can win 2 or 3 games in the conference tournament, maybe that helps their cause a little bit. I mean, Nova is an absolute Hail Mary. They're 14-14. The odds are they're probably not going to get in. In that conference specifically, I mean, I just look to Marquette and say they have a proven record here, 14-3, best record in the conference. That doesn't prove anything, but I've liked how consistent they've kind of been. They've won 3 in a row. They're 7-4 away from home. That to me speaks to a level of experience that I like in a tournament setting. So that's kind of who I would take. A little chalky, quite frankly. To go back to the ACC, you like Miami. Now, Virginia just lost to BC 2 days ago or whatever, but they shot like 32% from the floor. Other than that, they've been incredibly solid. Now they're going to take on UNC at UNC tomorrow. That could be a good measure game. Do you not like the Yahoos? Do you not like them?
It's not that I don't like them. I've been following this Miami team and I've been making good money on the Canes. So
that's all that matters. All that matters.
I think this is their year. I mean, listen, you know what I'm really excited about this year when it comes to March Madness, Dan, is the parity. I think, there is no juggernaut this season, right?
Right.
And usually there is one. In fact, like I'm having conversations at ESPN in regard to who is going to get the overall number one. I do believe Houston is going to get it, but you can have a discussion and you can have, a conversation. It does, the way that Kansas has been playing as of late, are they deserving? Pac-12, I do like UCLA, by the way. Again, a team that I feel has really turned it up. One of the best defensive units in college basketball. And I love the way that they can dictate the tempo. In the Patriot League, I like Colgate. They love to step up in the big moments. And they've got a solid offense. And then in the Big Ten, I do like Purdue. I mean, anytime you've got a 7'4" center who's averaging 22 points and 12 rebounds, who's going to stop him?
Makes it tough.
So, yeah. So Colgate, UCLA, Purdue, UConn, Kansas, Miami, Houston, and Gonzaga. That right now, as soon as Sport Trade puts up their NCAA conference winning futures bet, I'm all over it. That's what I'm doing.
Now, I am very curious. It's a very great discussion between, who is deserving of that number one seed, because you could easily point to the American Conference and say, okay, Houston's great, legitimately very good, tons of athletes. Kelvin Sampson does a great job. But who are they playing, day in and day out? I'm looking at the RPI ratings right now, and the second-rated American Conference team behind Houston, I'm still going. I'm at 75. I'm still going. Tulane at 85. So I think you could look at that and say, this league kind of sucks.
Well, that's another thing, when I interview those that are more in the know than me, right? Like Joey Brackets and folks like that who follow college basketball all year round. I asked them, how much weight do you put into how many teams in a certain conference get into the big dance? And then, so a team might not have a better record, but they play in a much more competitive division or conference. And therefore, now you give them a little bit more weight. So, and all of them do, and put a lot of weight into that. So I think that's another thing to pay attention to as, Selection Sunday, the brackets come out, look and see, the number of teams from each conference that get in, and weigh those teams a little bit more heavily because of the competition that they had faced all season long.
Now, some people may not be interested in Major League Baseball futures only because you were tying up your bankroll for so long, but because on Sport Trade you can move in and out of these positions whenever you want. You may be able to grind out a little bit of profit earlier than Anita. We're turning our attention to the World Series futures. I guess not a surprise that the defending champion, Houston Astros, are $11.50. They are setting the pace, to borrow a term from horse racing. The Yankees at $11, the Dodgers at $9.50. The Mets at 10, the Padres at 10, the Braves at 9.5 round out the top 6. You like 2 teams in the top 6 here.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna go all New York, baby, and for good reason. Let's start with the Yankees, right? This offseason they spent 500. You're so funny, Dan. You're shaking your head at me. But you're a fan, right? Like you're shaking your head at me because you're a fan. I have no allegiance to these teams.
I'm happy to tell you I don't have the Phillies here. I don't have them.
I know you're shaking
your head
at me. I'm not a Yankee fan. I'm not a Met fan. Like, I cheer for them because when they do well, obviously my radio show.
The Marlins are winning it all this year. Come on, Anita.
Okay. But listen, the Yankees, again, they spent $573.5 million on 4 free agents this offseason, right? Their payroll's at $258 million. They bring back Judge. They bring back Rizzo. They return a lot of the key players. On top of that, they bring in Rodon. They bring in another ace. So now you've got the 1-2 punch with Garrett Cole, right? And their bullpen, I think it's middle of the road as a whole. I like a lot of their setup guys. They don't necessarily have the best closer in Major League Baseball, but nonetheless. And I think it's, bringing back Judge, I don't necessarily would have paid that kind of money. I think we're going to see some regression with him. But even if he hits 45, 50 home runs, Dan, I mean,
worth it.
He's good for 45 or 50. He might not hit 62, but he's going to be good for 45 or 50. And then the Mets, they spent $482 million in the offseason. They've got the highest payroll in Major League Baseball at $329.
History, ever.
They didn't bring back DeGrom. But I do like the fact that they brought in Verlander, and I know he's 40, but if ever there was a year that you wanted to have some concern about Verlander, it was last year, because that was his first year off from Tommy John's. And of course he went out and won the Cy Young. So, I like the 1-2 punch. I love Buck Showalter. I think both these teams, I think the Yankees and the Mets are geared up and ready to go out and win a World Series. And I know you don't want to hear this.
No,
but
go ahead.
How amazing would it be for a Subway Series to be the World Series?
It'd be great. We would hear so many people complain about being from New York. It'd be amazing. Here's what I love. So I'll give you my actual play, and then I have a sneaky one that I really like underneath of that. So to your point about the highest payrolls, 3 teams with the highest payroll since the year 2000 have won the World Series. 2000 Yankees, 2009 Yankees, 2018 Red Sox, and that's it. Now, that oscillates typically between 3 teams, the Yankees, Red Sox, and Dodgers. So what does that tell us? It tells us that the baseball playoffs is an absolute crapshoot. To that point is why I love the Braves at $9.50. So the only real subtraction you could say from the Braves is Dansby Swanson. I don't think it's a huge loss, to be quite honest with you. They trade for Sean Murphy. They give him an extension. He's a fantastic defensive catcher. He's no JT Realmuto, mind you, but he's a fantastic defensive catcher. Last season, the Braves caught the Mets. They won 101 games. They had the second largest run differential in baseball. In my opinion, they have a top 3 team, and they just happen to, again, run into this buzzsaw of a Philadelphia Phillies team. And to me, trends, projections, I like to call them gambling chicken soup for the soul, right? They're warm, they're fuzzy, they don't really mean a whole lot. However, I am going to cite them now. If you go to FanGraphs, they are projected to have not only the best record, the most runs saved, the biggest run differential, and to have a top 2 offense in baseball. I think people are sleeping on this Braves team. They've got a really sharp general manager. They have a core that includes Matt Olson, Ozzie Osbourne, Austin Riley, Michael Harris, Ronald Acuna. Corner outfield, admittedly, a little weak for this ball club. But that just makes them a buying candidate in August, right? They've got a really young pitching staff here. Now, Charlie Morton's like 40, but the guys around him are really young. Spencer Strider is a fantastic young player as well. I really like this Braves team to come out of the East yet again, the 6th straight year. I think they're going to win the NL East. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Another team I really like, Anita, and they're $3, just $3.
Wow.
The Cleveland Guardians.
Ooh.
Young, scrappy, nothing expected of them a year ago. What do? They make the postseason. They get through Tampa Bay in a 2-game sweep of the Rays. Now, they were a bit of a letdown in the ALDS, but I think that's a really good scrappy team. If they could repeat that success from last season, that $3 goes to $10, and all of a sudden, you're looking at a big gain. So I like the Guardians at $3.
You know, you hit on a really good point, right? Like, you know, the history of Major League Baseball, how many teams who had the highest payroll won a World Series. You know, so much. It's such a long season, Dan. It's too long. It's just too long. And I think it's really hard for these guys to stay healthy. And so a lot of this is the luck of the draw, and you know, how healthy can these guys be, and how healthy can they stay, and so much comes down to that for sure.
We've got a long time until anyone is able to cash a season-long future on Major League Baseball. But some of those plays, maybe we can make you a little bit of money as we go into the summer, when there's the only thing to really bet on is Major League Baseball. Anita Marks, thank you so much for your time. As always here on Market Movers, we're going to chat about our plans for the NCAA tournament coming up in just a few short weeks. It is going to be awesome. I will pull back the curtain a little bit. We are testing a brand new show right after this show that I'll be filling you in on, Anita. That's right. And I'll be filling you in, audience, member, viewer, in a very short amount of time. But thank you as always, Anita. We will talk to you soon.
Do you want some of my NBA?
Oh yes,
bets?
of course. Yes, obviously.
Do we want to feed the people tonight?
Obviously.
Okay.
We'll open up really wide. Quick. Anita's gonna spoon feed you some winners. Let's do this. Put on your napkins.
I'll make it really quick. I love the Heat tonight. No Giannis for the Bucks. The Heat full strength, the healthiest they've been in quite a while. So I do like the Heat tonight. Also, I love OKC. Same thing, same kind of philosophy with the Suns. No KD. Don't forget Bridges and Cam. They're in Brooklyn. The Suns' 8th rated defense in the NBA, but that defense takes a really big hit. Chris Paul is their best defensive player on the court now with Bridges and Cam gone. And meanwhile, this OKC is coming off a really disappointing loss in overtime to the Jazz. I think this is a rebound game for them. They're great against the spread on the road as road dogs. They cover 70% of the time. So I'm on OKC. Also, I like the Kings tonight going up against the Clippers. The Kings, they've won 4 of 6. They destroyed the Clippers last time they faced them back in December. So I'm on the Kings. And last but not least, in college basketball, I'm on Xavier over Seton Hall. Sean Miller back. He's made all the difference. If Xavier wins, they potentially could be a top 10 seed. So there's a lot of motivation there. They're a better 3-point shooting team. They're a better rebounding team. So again, tonight, how am I playing sport trade? What am I trading on? It's Xavier in college basketball. It's the Kings. It's OKC, and it's the Heat in the NBA.
You have to go with OKC. You got the Josh Giddey shirt on, and as we love to say here,
I do have the Josh Giddey shirt on.
Love the.
Let's get giddy with it.
The guard from down under. We love it, and of course, light the beam. Anita Marks, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.